to pray. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kira's show here. Now then, whenever we last left off, Deku and Toga, they had just been attacked by the sludge villain. Now, let us begin. Deku, he would arrive home as him and Toga were actually talking. They would find that Deku's mom was not here and she actually did leave a note on the table. She would just say that she is going to go do some research at this facility and that things should be okay. But he just needs to not worry because there's dinner in the fridge and there is pizza and other frozen stuff that he just needs to heat up in the freezer. So, she at least trusts him not to burn the house down. Now, as Deku's reading this, he immediately hears something. As he gets annoyed, he would just immediately somewhat form a claw in his hand as he does walk into the living room. He keeps his hand hidden behind him as he looks to see that there's All Might just standing on the balcony. He immediately just turns off the claw as he does walk in. He would immediately look and he just is confused, opening up the door asking exactly what is he doing here. And who are you? Oh, sorry young man, I seem to be mistaken. Okay. That still doesn't explain it. Well, I've come this far already. Young man, I am All Might. No, you're not. As Deku just pulses him to see if he is involved or not, finding that he is not infected. Deku would just look at this man's clothes as he is wearing the same thing as All Might, but as he looks down to see the man's scanner. Okay, if you really are All Might, what happened earlier today? All Might would just explain what happened and then he would buff up. Deku realizing that this actually may be the real All Might. So then, what are you doing here? Well, young man, I was really interested in how you two performed against the villain. Even then, I do remember that you were quirkless, correct? Well, yes, actually. Now, I do believe I could offer you my quirk. Pass. Well, I see you're enthusiastic. What? I said pass. I'm not really interested in a quirk. But you're not even at the least bit curious as to what I have to say? I mean, no one's ever been able to offer a quirk before. Yeah, no, I should be fine. Even then, don't really care for them. They're a bit too overrated. Okay, young man. Well, I guess I'll just leave you to it. Wait. What is it? Bakugo. Huh? Look for a boy named Bakugo Katsuki. He might be a good choice if you're going to give a quirk away. Okay. Now, as All Might would immediately just jump off, Elizabeth would walk into the room asking exactly why that guy was here. Oh, that was All Might. I could tell. In fact, I got here a little bit earlier than he did. I stayed hidden so he wouldn't see me. Why? Because the heroes, they may not know my face, but those little scanners they have are a bit tricky. In fact, they're new. Okay. Now, as Toga would knock on Deku's door, Deku would immediately open it, asking her what she's doing here. She would just say that Elizabeth told her to come here. Well, we could have just walked here together then. Yeah, but she just messaged me a bit later. Okay. Anyways, what's going on? Well, listen, and she would immediately just walk over to the couch, plopping herself down and turning on the TV. saying that there is going to be a little bit of a change to their tactic. She needs them to play a bit of a long con. Okay, what do you mean? Well, as she would just go on saying that they need to get in the UA and make contact with the villains. Villains? Really? Well, yeah. Word around the underworld is that they're planning something. In fact, I do hear that they want to try and ambush All Might. Okay, when is that going to be? Well, they're trying to do it sometime in, as she would give out the date, saying that it's actually not too far away from the beginning. They'll just have to play and stick to a little game. Alright, well, that shouldn't be so hard. Anyways, since that being said, you two will have to pose as quirkless, since the virus, having that as a quirk, would be a little too on the nose. Now, this is whenever she would go on saying that she will train them to get a little bit more physically strong. They could just use the virus to augment their bodies to make them look stronger, but there's a difference between that and actually getting stronger. If you can get physically stronger and improve upon yourself, then your virus will get stronger. So, it won't be that big of a deal. Now, as she's explaining that, Deku and Toga, they would be somewhat in glee. That means that if they get strong enough, they'll have better ways to use the virus, better ways to weaponize themselves, and improve. As Deku, he does one simple thing. He immediately gets ready as he just tells Toga that they should start training. Elizabeth would just say that that will work, but they need to go to this factory then. She's been stocking up on something. Is it more infected? Maybe. Either way, you need to train your biomass, so... As she would go on saying that there is a bit of a hive there. Now, as Deku and Toga would leave going to this factory, they would arrive as they would see that the entire floor, half of it is ripped up, as the walls are covered in the substance. She would tell them that they are going to be fighting here for the next couple of days, if not the next couple of months, improving upon themselves and getting stronger. As they would begin, Deku and Toga would be fighting against the infected and actually absorbing a lot of them. They would be absorbing as many as possible, as Deku would consume juggernauts, hunters, and actually alphas. While Toga, she's doing the same. Now, this is whenever Elizabeth, she would go out one night, as she is stalking down a military officer. He is looking for a bit of information, as he makes contact. He would just tell this person that they need to do this, and it's not going to be easy. As Elizabeth immediately just grabs the man, pulling him up towards her, absorbing him, saying exactly what is going to happen. This is whenever the man would immediately begin to run, as she uses the whip to immediately lash out for the other one, grabbing him by the leg as she drags him back into the alley, immediately coating the alley in blood, as she finds the information she needs. This will be perfect. This will allow her to give them proper guidance. Now, what she did is she actually absorbed these two people. In doing so, she gained the abilities of another military tactician and a guidance and commanding officer, allowing her to properly train Deku and Toga. Imagine it like being a sergeant who you train people at boot camp. One of these men, they were in that position before, but they eventually got a change after the outbreak happened. So they would put someone on the front lines. Now, she would go back to the factory as she would see Deku and Toga just killing the infected before they could even create themselves, or be born, as you can say, in the hive. They would have hydras pop up every now and then, but take them down fairly easily, as they would go to the exam a couple months later. Deku and Toga have actually evolved 2 to 3 times, getting rapidly stronger in the process. Now, as they are walking into UA, they would see Bakugo, as he actually just tried talking to Deku, saying that he's kind of been a bit absent from school lately and he's been trying to get into contact with him. But dude, where have you been? Oh, sorry man. I've been a little busy and I haven't really been at home. Oh, okay. As he would immediately extend his hand outward, trying to greet Toga. She would immediately just look at him as she actually just sniff him for a second. What is she doing? Oh, sorry about that. As Deku would just tell her to shake his hand. She would do so, saying that she is from Aldridge, and hello. Oh, well, nice to meet you. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised then. Yeah, she grew up in a place very different from my settlements. I'm guessing so. Now, this is where Deku and her would walk in, as they are not sitting next to each other. They are from separate schools. But Deku and Bakugo are sitting next to each other. So these two are trying to catch up and actually talk for a second. Bakugo explaining exactly what he's been doing. He's been doing some extra training and has actually been getting a bit stronger, as he's leaving out the part about meeting All Might. Now, as these two are whispering to each other, Ida would immediately stand up, saying that those two are being very disrespectful, and they are interrupting President Mike's explanation. As Deku would just stand up, saying that they're not interrupting anything. In fact, you're being disrespectful. We're barely even talking, and you're the one who just stands up and starts screaming. So please, shut the fuck up. As Ida immediately is in shock. He's telling Deku that that's highly disrespectful, and then Bakugo would immediately stand up, telling him to just shut the fuck up. And to be quiet and let the man continue his explanation. As President Mike, he just sighs as he would just continue, getting a little bit louder. Now, as that happens, Deku, I want to say he would do very well, but he's not at... Well, he just tries to play himself down. He has the memories of hundreds of people, so if he wanted to, he can get 100%. But that would be a bit too suspicious, so he goes for about 80 to 75%. He would get a B to a C grade on the test, and they would immediately begin the combat portion. Deku and Toga are actually placed in the same area, as he changed his outfit. Now, what he changed into was a black suit, a black tracksuit, and some black sweats, with a red stripe on them. Toga, she would have changed into something similar, but I want to say she'd probably go for something red. And that would be that. But, after that, they would begin by Deku walking to the front of the line, as he would see Toga. Ida would immediately bring his hand out to try and grab onto Deku's shoulder, but Deku, he would immediately just grab on Ida's hand with his reflexes, as he does begin to curl his fingers backwards, somewhat cracking Ida's fingers. Ida, he's immediately just trying to pull his hand away as he's telling Deku to let go. This is highly disrespectful. Please. You're the one who keeps interrupting me and annoying me. So, question. What do you think my quirk is? I'm guessing super strength? Wrong. Huh? Okay, then it's an enhancement. Wrong again. I'm quirkless. And so is my friend over there. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to go give her some encouraging words because she looks very nervous. As he would let go of Ida. Everyone around him heard that he was quirkless, but they do somewhat recognize the bracelet he's wearing. so they're just staying out of his way. As Deku, he would walk over to Toga and immediately begin talking with her. As Ida watches her face light up and immediately have her day brighten. They would begin the exam as Deku would immediately take off the weights he has on his legs, immediately throwing them to the sides, as he would immediately take off running. People would be watching this as someone actually does walk over and try and lift one up, finding that it's very heavy. Now, Deku wore these for show, but they were actual weights, to at least give people the illusion that he trains very intensely. Now, I want to say these are about 200 pounds, so that it would at least seem like Deku trains at a maximum every day. Someone would just lift up one of them as they would immediately just fall backwards, landing on their ass with it. Finding that it is increasing, well, it's basically just too heavy to lift. Now, everyone would watch Deku as he's running around, punching through and actually just kicking robots. Now, I want to say he's taking out the weak points, and so is Toga, as these two are somewhat working together. Deku, he would be hopping on top of robots and pulling off pieces whenever he can, using the metal to actually stab into the gears and the weak spots in the robots to take them down, as he's basically making sure not to use his claws, but at least make it look convincing. Toga doing the same with her, just jumping on top of robots and using the panels to just throw them and use them as weapons. As eventually we get to the point, that is probably in the recording. Alright guys, sorry about that, there was a long cut there. Now then, they are being somewhat overwhelmed by the robots, as Deku, he thinks that this is not good. He immediately does one thing, as he immediately just takes off running straight for a robot. It immediately going to swing its arm as Deku actually does move to the right. As soon as he does that, he immediately just jumps upwards, landing on top of the robot, immediately pulling off the panel. As he just swings the panel sideways, cutting through and actually slicing into the side of the other one's head next to him. As he immediately just somewhat sighs with release, he bends downward, ripping out the wires, as he immediately begins to do so. Kicking off the robot, he does jump backwards and land on another one, starting to do the same. People are completely intrigued as that guy can't be quirkless. He's superhuman. Now, eventually, these two would take out the robots as they are watching as the zero pointer finally arrives. They are insane. This has got to be the biggest robot they've ever seen. Now, Deku and Toga, they would just look at each other as they're thinking that if they take this thing down, that would just blow their cover. So it would not be a good idea to do this. So they would immediately turn and run with the rest of everyone else. Now, as that happens, this is whenever Toga and Deku, they would get notes in the mail a week later, as they just got accepted into Class 1A, the Hero course. Now then, I do want to say that Elizabeth, she would have done one thing, as she would knock on Deku's door one day and tell him that she has a present for him, as she would arrive holding a man. Deku, he's a bit in shock and telling her that she better not have been seen with that guy. She would say that no, she wasn't. She actually did have a bit of trouble getting him here, though. But Deku, he would absorb the man. Doing so, he actually just find out exactly what is happening. This man was the informant who gave information that the USJ, there could be attack, or they can attack the USJ. Now, Deku finding out about this finds this to be a bit more intriguing, as soon as he does so, he actually does ask what they'll be doing there then. Well, you're going to get into contact with All for One. He's going to be a bit more difficult, but just tell him that you can give him information. Okay, exactly what information? Well, All Might, he's not at 100% anymore. What? Whenever you do meet All For One, just tell him that All Might, he's not in his prime. He's barely at 70%. Okay, how does that help me? Because he still thinks that All Might can defeat him. Knowing this little bit of information, it could possibly put you on his good side. So, you and Toga will need to figure this all out. But I probably won't be able to help you from now. Well, for now. Why? Because if I do, it'll look too suspicious. What do you mean, too suspicious? Well, I got a little information from a little snack I had earlier that they're finding a good way to track me. Now, I'm going to be taking down and dismantling all that so that we can stay hidden. In the meantime, you two will be handling things on your end, okay? Okay, Elizabeth. Does Toga at least know about this? Yes, she's already been informed. Okay, good. Now, this is whenever Elizabeth to leave, as Deku, he just sits there at home. Still a bit more confused, but at least a bit happy. Now then, with that being said, that is where I'm going to be leaving this part off of, guys. I do hope you enjoyed the video. And have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.